Well, it's that time of year again. It's time for me to give you my bold predictions of what's going to happen in the real estate market in 2025. But before I do that, let me recap what happened this last year, compare that to 2023, but also compare it to our last normal year of 2019. So stay tuned. In 2024, you all heard about the fact that we had very low inventory. And as a matter of fact, I'll compare it to how things were in 2019, which was prior to the COVID epidemic and the craziness that ensued in the real estate market after that. But I want to compare 2024 to 2023 to kind of put things in a little bit of a perspective. So number one, we sold, so a number of homes that have sold in the Fredericksburg area, we basically sold about the same number of homes in 2024 as we did in 2023. As a matter of fact, we sold 1.5% more homes, but that equates to, less than 100 homes difference between 2024 and 2023. So that speaks volumes about the inventory challenges we've had. Some good points, though, with the inventory challenges in supply and demand, because supply was so low, demand was still higher than the supply. So our average home prices did increase between 2023 and 2024. So the median sold price increased 3.86% this last year compared to the year prior, and our average sold price increased 5.12% compared to our price in 2023. So that's good. That's actually normal increase in growth. We were not experiencing normal between 2020 and 2022, this end of 2022. So this 3 to 5 to 7% is a normal rate of increase. And that was scary to some people because I think they were thinking, hey, it's going to go up 10, 11, 12% every single year. And that is not sustainable and that is not normal. So we saw a normal increase last year. The days on market, so the number of days it takes a home from when it goes on the market to when it goes under contract, was basically the same, and that is just under 30 days on the market. So that is what the average was. So there are still a lot of homes selling pretty quickly, and there are a lot of homes selling afterwards. So 30 days on the market, that's about right. We actually went up 1 day. So 2023, the average was 27. 2024, the average was 28. One thing I want to point out is how financing has changed. So as I'm filming this video, we're in February of 2025. The interest rate today is actually higher than it was a year ago. So today we're over 7%. Last year, this time, we were under 6%. And the interest rates absolutely have a high impact both on demand, but also on supply. There are not a lot of sellers or potential sellers out there that are rationalizing giving up the mortgage that they have now, which is probably 3.5%, is definitely less than 5% if they refinanced or purchased in the last few years. They're not going to give that up to take on a 7% mortgage unless there's some circumstances that lead to that, and I'll go over that in a little bit. But what's interesting is in the mortgage, in the financing world, 12% of all the sales were cash purchases. Usually our number is right around 7. So there are a lot more cash buyers out there. Now, typically those cash buyers are buying investment properties, so they're in competition with first-time home buyers. And it's been very hard for first-time home buyers to secure a home. They might have to write 2, 3, or 4 offers on 4 different houses because they're competing against the cash buyer. A cash buyer carries less risk for a seller. So if all other terms are the same, cash usually will win in a multiple offer situation. 40.5% of all the mortgages were conventional mortgages. So your conventional mortgage is your typical 20% down, 80% loan to value. There are conventional products where you can put as little as 5% down. So those were very popular. But what was interesting is the conventional loans actually have a higher interest rate than the government-backed loans. So somewhere in the spring this last year, we saw a turn. And that is, even people who could totally do a conventional loan, they are opting to go for a government-backed loan because the interest rate's lower, the payment is lower, and they don't need as much of a down payment. So 44% of all the mortgages that were done this last year were government-backed. And so that is between FHA mortgages and VA mortgages. And as you know, in our area, we have a lot of veterans. So that VA product is incredible for them. And we'll see those numbers actually increase, I believe, this year. So how does this compare? How does this compare to 2019, our last normal year? So the average sold price of a home has increased 52% since 2019. 52%. That's incredible. The number of homes that have sold in 2024 was actually 20% less than in 2019. 20% less inventory than in 2019. And to put it in perspective, the last time we sold, the number of homes we sold in 2024 was in 2015. We sold just about the same number of homes, just about 5,500 homes were sold. But consider this. In 2015, there were about 60,000 fewer citizens in our area. 60,000 fewer people. So now we have 60,000 more people and we sold the same number of homes. You can see how the demand is really high and that supply is absolutely low. Days on market in 2019, it was 42 days on market. That was the average for the year, 42. So a month and a half, basically. So we're doing a lot better. We're selling homes in 33% of the time as we did in 2019. So I find that data very interesting. We've come a long way, haven't we? So let me share with you my predictions for 2025. Number one, I expect the number of sales to actually increase this year. I believe the number of homes that sell in our area is probably going to go up about 10%. Why is that? That's because people have finally realized these interest rates that we have are here to stay and we're not going to get down below 5 again. So if they've been itching to get out of that house, itching to move closer to family, itching to upgrade or downsize, the interest rate is not going to be as important as it was this last year or the year before, but it's still going to be important for a lot of people. So I believe our number of sales is going to go up about 10%. I think our sales prices, the average sales price or the average value of homes in our area is also going to go up. It's going to go up that normal 3 to 5%, nothing like we had with 11% a year a couple years ago. So 3 to 5%, the average home price is going to go up. And that's because we're still going to have lower supply and we're still going to have higher demand. Days on market, I believe the average is going to continue to be 30 days or less through this year. So basically about the same as 2024. I believe the government-backed loans, the financing of VA financing and FHA financing, because of the benefits they provide in this higher interest rate environment, they are going to be the majority of the loans that are out there right now. So this past year was 44% government-backed, 40% conventional. I think we're going to see more than 50% of all the mortgages being VA or FHA combined. Compared to conventional loans. And that's just because of the savings that the borrower sees with those lower interest rates. I do think we'll see more loan assumptions. This last year, there were only 22 loan assumptions, and I think that was less than 1%. Yeah, that was less than 1% of the entire market. I don't think we'll see a significant percentage of closings in the market using a loan assumption, but I think we'll probably see more than 22. We'll probably bump that up to maybe 30 loan assumptions in this year. And if you want to learn more about what a loan assumption is and how to do it, feel free to reach out to me. I've done several in my career, not in the last couple of years, but back in 2022 and 21, we did some loan assumptions, and they're a great opportunity if the numbers work for you. Interest rates. I believe interest rates, the conventional interest rate, is going to be north and south of 6.75 throughout the year. 6.75 is kind of our baseline, I think, for this coming year, and it's going to be north and south of that, fluctuating back and forth. For government-backed loans, I think it's going to be north and south of 6.4% through the entire year. So I don't see us getting down below 6%, and I don't see us north and south of 6%. I see us well into the sixes, back and forth, just depending on what's going on in the markets at that time. So a couple factors that influence interest rates that you may not be aware of. One is our unemployment rate. As our unemployment rate goes down, mortgage interest rates go up. As our unemployment rate goes up, mortgage interest rates will go down. We also look at worldwide factors. Of course, the feds have an impact on the mortgage interest rates in that there's a trend that we tend to follow. But what was very interesting is when the feds lowered the interest rate in November of 2024, mortgage rates actually went up that week. The other thing I find very interesting is from time to time, and this week is one of those weeks, a 15-year conventional mortgage, the interest rate is higher than that of a 30-year conventional mortgage. Does not make sense, but that's the way it is, and that's the environment that we are in. So interest rates are going to go back and forth. Just understand that after your sixth mortgage payment, you can refinance. So you can purchase at today's prices, which are going to go up throughout the course of the year. And then when the interest rates get down to where it makes fiscal sense for you to refinance, you just refinance. And then after 6 payments, if it makes sense for you to refinance again, you do it. The one thing we do know is that prices are going to go up. Home prices are going to increase in our area. They are not going to decrease. The thing we don't know is what interest rates are going to do. Okay? So if you can control the controllables, purchase at the lower price, and then when the interest rates change, just refinance when the time comes. And that's my best advice. I touched on this earlier. Why are people moving? So the 5,500 people, households that moved this last year, why are they moving? Well, there are 3 very distinct reasons why people are moving in our area. And it's not necessarily because they think it's a good idea or, they just want to take their equity and buy something bigger type thing. They actually are doing this for very strong reasons. The number one reason why people are moving is related to family. These are people who are moving to move closer to their extended family. So grandma and grandpa want to live closer to the grandkids, or the grandkids and that family wants to live closer to the rest of their family. So we see that move. I have clients that made moves based on that this last year. People are still getting married. People are still having babies, and people are still passing away. So related to those major changes, and people are getting divorced as well. So those major changes in a family and what makes up a family, even so there's less people in the family, there's more people in the family, you're combining 2 independent households in a marriage, or you're separating one household into 2 through a divorce, those are still happening. We also see that the average seller and the average buyer are the oldest age that they've ever been since we've been keeping track of this. The average buyer and the average seller, and I can't remember exactly which one is which, but one is in their 60s and one is in their 50s. A lot of those folks are downsizing, or they're moving closer to family and downsizing at the same time. The reason why we see that big increase in the average age is because a large number of the sales occurred with those age groups. And why is that the case? It's because if they're downsizing from their big house, where they have a lot of equity, into a smaller house, they can buy that smaller house with cash. So they're not as worried about the 7% interest rates as, say, a first-time home buyer. The other reason why people are continually moving into and out of our area is due to job relocation. Now, since the new administration came into effect and federal workers have to go back to the office, I'm interested to see how this is going to impact our market locally. And to be honest with you, my prediction is it's really not going to have an impact on it. It's not going to have a negative impact, and it's not going to have a positive impact. The thing I do see is it's going to have an impact on traffic. So make sure you have your Easy Pass Flex so you can use those HOT lanes, and just plan ahead. Traffic is going to be heavier. I've noticed traffic is definitely the heaviest on Thursdays. So if you have a way of avoiding going up to DC or getting involved in I-95 on a Thursday, that's awesome. And then of course, towards the summertime, Thursday afternoons is when that weekend traffic starts, heading down to the beach and heading up north. So just plan ahead, just adjust how you plan for everything. The other thing is rents. Rent prices are getting very high. An average 3-bedroom goes for about $2,450 right now. And that's not the apartments. That's the single family homes and the townhouses and the condos that are a part of the multiple listing system. Apartments, 3-bedroom apartments, are well over $3,000 a month. 4-bedroom homes, 4 or more bedroom homes, their average is $3,000 a month. You can't find a 4-bedroom apartment, okay? And if you did, it would probably be $4,000, $5,000 a month. So rent prices are very high. Now, as our interest rate goes up and down, sometimes it makes sense to buy, sometimes it makes sense to rent, sometimes it's cheaper to buy, sometimes it's cheaper to rent. We are going back and forth basically on a weekly basis right now. But as the interest rates adjust and the sales prices are increasing, I hope to see rents kind of decrease a little bit, but they've been very stable. And so that's encouraging a lot of people. They don't want to give $2,400 a month to a landlord. They'd rather invest $2,400 a month into a home that they can decorate, that they have ownership of, that they're building equity in. And we all know, we've heard a million times, people that own real estate have a net worth that's 3 or 4 times larger than people who rent. Millennials are having a hard time though right now, because they have in generalities, they have a lot of student loan debt, which counts against them in looking for a mortgage. And they just haven't had a chance to stack up a lot of cash because they've been paying on debts. So I'm seeing, and this is true throughout the entire country, a lot of parents, a lot of moms and dads are helping their millennial children, who are now in their 30s, by the way, with purchasing a home. Either they're giving them gift funds to help with the down payment, or they are literally co-signing on the mortgage with their clients. And I have several clients who are doing that, and their family is helping them. And that truly is the only way that they're able to do that. So we're seeing that happen a lot more these days. So all in all, my prediction for 2025 is it's going to be a great market. It's still a good time to buy. It's still a good time to sell, especially if that's something you need to do. You can't time the market. If you sit around and wait for interest rates to get down below 5, you're going to be waiting a very, very long time. And by the time we get there, our home prices might be 40% higher than they are now. So if you need to buy, if you need to sell, now is a great time. As far as looking for investment properties, I will be honest with you, it is hard to find investment properties. When you're buying investment properties, you make your money on the buy. You make your money on the buy, okay? And because of the amount of competition that's out there, and I'm telling you, you can't find places for under $350,000 that are worth a lick, or that doesn't need a lot of work, okay? So you make your money on the buy, you need to make the numbers work. From an investment standpoint, it's a little bit hard out there. Now, if you are looking to flip a house, there are some potentials that are out there, but I've been through a couple properties that have been flipped, and I'll say they were not done well, that's for sure. So there could be some stigmas against that. And with the number of people using government-backed loans to purchase, if you have a flipped home, you have to wait 90 days before it can be sold to someone using one of those loan products. So right off the bat, you might be eliminating over 50, well, maybe not 50, maybe a good 20% of the market, because that's an FHA rule. You might be eliminating a lot of the market. So if you're looking to invest in property, we need to be very careful. There are opportunities out there, but you need to be prepared to go up against all the other investors, because inventory is low, investment inventory is low, there's a lot of cash out there and a lot of other investors looking to invest. There are other areas of the country you might be interested in investing in where they have better opportunities than here. So if you're interested in investing in other parts of the country, let me know. I will connect you with a great agent in those locations as well. So I think 2025 is going to be a great year. As always, if you or someone you know is thinking about making a move this year or even in the next couple years, I would love that introduction. I would love that referral, and we can sit down and put a plan together and make sure everyone makes the best decisions they can make. I am here for you, and so is my team. So I hope you have a great 2025, and I will have an update for you after the first quarter. See you soon.